Okay, just got to focus on this for a moment. I'm just looking at just all the stuff. I'm like, what is happening? So, the weirdo from the Biden administration who stole the purse or stole the suitcase. Okay, one, it was just straight up, like, as you go through it, you're like, no, this person just straight up stole it and then tried to do everything they could to lie about it. Walked around with it and went to events. Apparently some, of course, event that has to do with sexual deviance in some way, shape, or form. And because this is it's a gender sexual American. Now, the important part of the story, at some point you'll read one of these, especially, I know there's the one on Revolvers where I found it, the one that was linked from Revolver, about 4 paragraphs down. Recruited through the senior executive service. This is one of the most important things that I could put out there. Just like how I was like the Banderites from Ukraine, the whole Maidan thing is wrapped up in these people called the Banderites. Years later, oh boy, if we had only discussed openly what this group who we recruited to start the Pentagon. Oh, nobody in Antifa seems to be, the FBI is being told about protests that are obviously being advertised on Twitter so as to become riots. This is to gin up a riot. The FBI should be Johnny on the spot on it. FBI, here is the tweet. Portland PD, link. It's all right there in their timeline. None of them did anything, proving the FBI is in on Antifa. They're a part of it. They're heavily running it. They're a part of it. It's something coming out of this weird nexus of the Democrats, the Pentagon, and the FBI that we saw with like Peter Strzok, who is a liaison from the FBI to the CIA. Like he officially has his position deals with both parties. So this is one of these where I keep bringing it up. The senior executive service. There are a few people who are totally on top of this on YouTube. I finally put it in there, and there's people who really, they've like mapped out like how dangerous this is that nobody's concentrating on it. You will not hear Republicans talking about it until it goes totally fucking tits up. It in some way becomes a total embarrassment for Republicans when they get caught up in some shit. And the reason why is because once they get power, they'll hire all their friends via the senior executive service. That's why it needs to be brought up, and then it needs to be ended. It needs to end. You will not end the federal government without ending the senior executive service. Once you look up on Wikipedia simply what it is, this can be eliminated with one piece of legislation. Just like the FBI is just an executive order, it can be eliminated with one executive order, with a rescindance, with some legislation. Boom! It could be George Bush totally reorganized all that stuff. Just did it. They just did it. Remember that? Remember George Bush just kind of reconstructed our entire way the security apparatus of the country operated. So it's not, oh man, that's big. It's a big thing. No, actually, you literally, we know, we just simply don't need to fund it. We need to just not fund a lot of this stuff and put it and let states keep their money. There's so many departments now, and now we're finding out everything that we could imagine. So it really is now, what does HUD say they do? What would be the worst possible, most evil thing? If you had super evil person running HUD, what would it do? And everything has to be like that now. F.A. Hayek was correct. This is why I always have to thank that the right knew. The right knew because the right was willing to read uncomfortable truths. And F.A. Hayek showed it. No, the more you have central planning, the more you'll have these terrible people get in charge, and you'll only find out once they and other terrible people have networked. And then they just start doing terrible things to you, and you can't get them out. It doesn't matter what law says. It doesn't matter. They just won't enforce it. That's what the senior executive service did to Trump. They just didn't do what he wanted. They just were like, no, don't feel like doing it. Fire me. Oh, sorry. According to this, according to this, the way that this department works, I have union representation. You can't really fire me. You can only move me to run another part of the government. And best of all is, and no one will bring up that this is what's going on. No one will bring it up because they want to have their fucking kids and friends hired by the senior executive service to help run the fucking government. Because they're almost the whole lot of them are total fucking lizard people pieces of shit. And that's why one of the most important things for the future of men's movements is the most dangerous thing of all. At the least dangerous, men start networking via martial arts communities. The most dangerous is we go back to what our great-great-great-grandfathers did, participate in the county militia. And the county militias participate together, and you work from there. That's the only way. That's the only way you keep the powerful in their place. When they're suddenly looking there and they're like, we can't control these people. That's it. That's it. You see, and what they've done is they've made it weird for men to do things like that. For men to participate in wrestling, the art, the great art. Boxing, the sweet science, wrestling, the great art. They try to make it weird. It's only allowable if it's got a Chinese or Japanese name to it or Korean name to it. But you see, then you see they haven't figured out a way of demonizing that. Because all the hoes know that Brazilian guys turn them on, and so they're like dangerous, and an accent, and they're tan, ooh, so that freak tranny, who's a senior executive service person. I do think that it's when you actually commit a certain level of crime and are convicted of it, you fuck up and you can't be in it anymore or something like that. So yeah, but then Milo Ye and Nick, because I know all of you are kind of wondering my take. I think, like what Medicare said, and then with Nick talking about the other Nick, Graziani, I believe the name is, or Graziani or something like that, with a lawyer that Ye and Trump share, that he's like, no, this is a setup, and I think it was. I think he's just showing up everywhere he can, and he's just going to start saying outlandish shit. He's just not gonna hold back. But what it's going to be, end up as, I don't know. This is one where I'm like, no, this one's the fascinating strategy, Cotton. Let's see what happens. Let's see if it plays out. Let's see how it plays out. But one of my things is, no. Milo instantaneously proved himself. Instantaneously. He's an asp in the basket. Yeah. He's like, all right, I'm gonna spin this fucking guy up, and I'm gonna just let him go, and this is gonna be great. This is gonna have people. All people are going to be talking about is neo-Nazism, Republicans, the right, Kanye West, Nick Fuentes. It is going to just everybody's going to go down. I think this is going to be. What was it, the way I was putting it to somebody? This is the flaming dumpster, being hit by a train full of gas. We might not see a derailment. We might not see an explosion. There's all kinds of ways that this could go. But it's both of those colliding and coming together at once. Great confluence of those. And that's why the Republicans need to really start making hard promises. The government's going to get smaller. These departments are absolutely being cut from the federal, and they're being shifted down to the states. And it's got to be a hard plan with details, and this is going to be the legislation for it. And then we are absolutely legislating such that the federal unions could go and eat shit. The federal unions can eat fucking shit. And so now you could pull in people, fresh blood, you could contract things out. That's one of, yeah. And Department of Education's gotta go. It just can't exist at all anymore. Period. It's just gotta go. There has to be an absolute plan, hard money plan. It doesn't even need to be necessary legislation. The Republicans need to work with the Mises caucus, and they all need to come out, and so then it's libertarians. We understand what you think. It worked. A lot of our ideas dovetail. Let's make this happen. All of this stuff of, I could just say Bible-like things. I could just wax Oklahoman for a minute. Let me talk to you like a real American. And it's okay. Being stomped out by moon crickets is the option. So what it is after they rape your wife, these moon crickets then stomp you out and kill your kids in front of you. So that's where America's going. What's this Republican saying? Or we got American values and no, it's got to be hard plans that make Democrats cry, because they know that's how I get paid. I get paid off of all these suckers pay me to do that. I do not want to move to Bumbleton, Bumbleton, someplace where it's probably mostly white Americans, exurban, suburban. Oh, well, but I would have to move to Bumbleton. And it's like, yeah, you will. Like all those people from the fucking, was it Interior Department or whatever, and so it was like all the National Forest people actually like live in D.C. or something. It was something weird like that, and they were pissed that they would have to actually live in the local areas where they ran the forest. No, we need to punish federal workers. The reason why the Republicans won't do it is that's all their friends and family. All these leaders won't do. All these people who hold office won't do it because that's their friends and family. and it just has to start getting understood. No, one of the key things that is Christianity in the West is a part of the culture. That is why America is a Christian nation, because it has subsidiarity. It doesn't have central governance. Subsidiarity is not only something left over from the Orthodox, then the Catholics, because the Catholics got it from the Orthodox, and that it worked so well that the Protestants adopted it as well, because it works, because it reflects the way that the systems of the body work with the man, with the whole of the body. It shows the man and his relationship to society and the elders and authorities, the authorities, and then their relationship to God, all nations of the world, and their relationship to God. Well, at some point, though, you solve the problem at the lowest level. This is why, then, New Jersey is at fault for all its own problems. It's not society, it's New Jersey. It's the people who live there. That's why people should be very open about that somebody like Tariq Nasheed should be very ashamed that he has this problem dealing with. Obviously, it is black people who are every problem with black people. All black people, there's nothing happening on the outside that's ruining black people's lives. No, black people do terrible things and make terrible decisions. It is their fault. So why, you're a single mom, you should have made better, you chose poorly. Choose wisely. And because nobody wants to understand, wisdom has to do with memory. It has to do the goofball mystics have watered it down to cosmic memory, but it is sort of the memory that, in one way, wisdom is something that does somebody have it. Because you'll meet people who they just don't pick up on anything. That which is a good idea from the past, they don't really get why that's not that great of an idea. See, because and it shows the blood of our ancestors runs thin in our veins. We are foolish. We are literally like almost a more genetically foolish people now. And that we need to now do what it takes so that the wise will live, the wise will have children, the wise will inherit. And so, I'm not terribly worried. See, I don't have kids. I was a late bloomer. I embraced foolishness and rebelliousness because it makes a lot of sense. I know a lot about my parents. So, a lot of people need to reflect on, honor thy mother and father. Know who they were. Understand the origin of something. This and this made this happen. Deal with it. The trannies are broken. Blame their moms. Obviously. Everybody gets this. Everybody gets like these lunatic sexual Americans who like causing chaos and like feel like they have to stick it to the white dad and stuff. And no. Blame their moms. Yeah, obviously their mom's fucked up. Come on. Why are we playing around anymore? And that's really, there's a certain frankness. We are now being presented with an opportunity for frankness on the right. That America has always been an awesome place to live if you're Jewish. If you're Jewish, America is one of the best places on the planet for you to have ever lived. I mean, period. I mean, from the colonial days. This is one of the things I just sit there and I'm like, has anybody Googled how many synagogues and Jewish communities and stuff, like where they lived? Charleston was well known for that Charleston. And people don't understand this, and it's like, okay, do you not understand the issue with the Freemasons and their ideas about religious tolerance? And, you know, even though they were really culturally staunchly Christian in their makeup, they were religiously tolerant, and a big part of it was because of these various events and and you know, and again, I want to put people onto Oliver's specific 2 or 3 discussions about the Rosicrucians with this one guest. I forget who he was, but it made it's very important for especially Protestants to understand that, like, the occult movement, that this is a thing that was gestated by the Catholics from the 1300s through the 1600s, and from that point on, it created Protestantism. That a lot of this had to do with people embracing occult ideas, and but I mean, we don't even think of it in this regard anymore. These are words and concepts that we're just like, oh yeah, that, you know. But we don't think of it as this powerful idea that was totally verboten at one time. And because we're Americans, and we're religious, we're tolerant of other religions. Why would you be? Because you have fortitude, and you are dealing with toller, pain, discomfort. It makes you uncomfortable, yet you can endure it because you have fortitude. And that comes from God. So, I just want to drop that little bit of secret. You know, Ukrainians were Banderite Nazis. That's who we're sending money to. That's who the Young Turks and all these people on the left are supporting. Banderite neo-Nazis. I love that everyone's even seen the American neo-Nazis who were arrested for going to Ukraine and fighting with their Azov battalion. I love, like, everyone's seen these guys. Everyone in America has seen this image. They've seen these men. There's an image that I know is played on national television where everyone saw those guys, that dude right there. Yeah, he got arrested in the United States because he was in Ukraine and he was all about white nationalism. That's why we stopped funding them during the early Trump years. You know, did you hear any of that in the news? Of course not, because the news is down with it too. Every major news corp is down with it too. And now the best part of what's been going on is, really, let's all give a salute to a fine countryman. Andy, no, I salute you. I put a little thing in the post here on YouTube. Said, Mr. Andy, no, don't you think that with all of the screen captures and information you have on dangerous terrorists, threats to people's personal safety, and other evidence of a network of people planning federal crimes and violence on Twitter, that you should maybe speak to Elon Musk? See, at Andy No. I don't know if I added Elon Musk, because you can. I think it would be very good in case anybody were to ever want to claim that Twitter had violent terrorist information on it. They should know precisely. It's all, you know, what they should know precisely, like what had been on Twitter, and that you are a specialist in this field, collecting this information. Took 24 hours. and those accounts got yeeted. So I salute you, Andy No. Sometimes you just gotta care and tell somebody you're good at what you do. And I suggest maybe try this, because I mean that's your bag, and I think you could really succeed if you take this opportunity. Just gotta try to network. You gotta network the opportunities in the right-wing communities. Without candor, the Republicans will have nothing. They'll just look like phonies. Because they don't get, there's nothing about them that comes across as genuine. They don't get that. They really don't get. No, Democratic politicians are weirdos. Like double stack of weirdo. But you guys come across as fucking phonies. And so unless you have numbers and plans and you're willing to say names, and especially this is not to your personal advantage, you are willing to sacrifice an opportunity for more power to get your kid some sweet job in the government, you're willing to sacrifice all that. You're willing to tell all those people in the D.C. Virginia Metroplex, we're not gun salesmen anymore. You're going to have to do your own marketing for this. That's not what we're doing anymore. The United States has to start concentrating on literally rebuilding its own economy again, because we don't even make our own shoes. Are there a pair of shoes made in the United States? Like, is there an American shoe company? So, and now, with everything falling apart in China, you better figure this out, GOP. You can't just keep pointing at them and being like, China, China, China. It's become very clear they've got their own problems. America's got to start looking backwards. And one of the big things is, too, a lot of these older folks still are underestimating the young end of the right. And the young end of the right has to start telling some of these people, this is a good idea. You should put this into law, and being ugly about it. We should be going back to some kind of trimetallic standard. I mean, if we do have some kind of blockchain currencies, well, I mean, banks are supposed to be a thing that can fail if they don't manage their finances correctly. So, I mean, there's all kinds of currencies that have been allowed. But we're going to have to start looking backwards and getting creative. But this centrally planned war state where we just produce the money out of debt and stuff. No. Everybody's got to start communicating. No, we get how the system. Too many of us understand how the system works. You guys are going to have to change it, because we simply aren't going to go along with it. You're going to lose. You will lose your power. And then the Democrats can't run anything. The liberals and everything left of center can't run anything. And that's the next part of it, is you make sure to demonize, especially the distinctly bizarre levels of deviance. Because remember, a lot of these Antifa people are going up for doing stuff with kids. And now we have, like, the United States government itself, like, the departments that wouldn't exist without the Democrats insisting that they do. Trafficking illegals. That's going to be the beautiful part. The Republicans are literally going to have to absolutely positively make it impossible for you to hire people who are not United States citizens. That there's just no way around it. You have to go through their paperwork. everybody's got to show that everybody's got to come with it, come with legal paperwork. There's going to have to be somebody who a way that people are looking through this, oh, I'm sorry, this guy died 12 years ago. Who is this person who's working for you? They're fired. One, they're fired. Two, we will be sending somebody to speak to them for committing fraud. And impersonating somebody that they're not, and boom, I mean, it's just going to be like that. And which also means we're going to have to probably have the Social Security office completely cleaned up. Like, we're going to have to go all through, that's a platinum mine for fraud. Platinum mine for fraud. Think of the kind of fucking money that the Democrats must be raking in. Selling identifications. You know it. Because you just have to presume they're doing the most possible evil, unethical, illegal thing possible. And that they're not only aware of it, but they're absolutely complicit in it. You just have to presume that. Because they keep proving that that's the kind of people they really are. So, later.